Exclusive contract for Feilu Novel Network Novel. Zongwu. I use observation ideas to create achievements. A 9-star combo caused Dongfang Yunhun to penetrate into the world of martial arts, becoming the youngest inner disciple of the Huashan Sect in the Ming Dynasty. Dongfang Yun came to this unfamiliar and familiar world, awakened his innate ability to visualize heaven and earth. Observing the rotation of the sun and moon, create the sun-moon rotation Tuna Gong. Watching fish swimming in the water, I have comprehended the swimming fish body technique. Strolling through the misty drizzle, suddenly realizing the light rain sword. Teasing wild cats, created the Lingmao Step. Taking inspiration from wind, rain, and lightning, created the Four Symbols Sword Technique. Visualize the painting of Vermilion Bird Bathing in fire, suddenly realizing and creating the palm technique of Phoenix dance in the Nine Heavens.Feng Qingyang said, "What a formidable junior. In terms of understanding swordsmanship, I am no match for him at all. Ximen Chuixue. Your swordsmanship is very strong. Come and fight." Gucheng said, "I didn't expect my extraterrestrial flying immortal to ultimately fail." Sweeping monk. Amitabha Buddha. The martial arts of the benefactor have already transcended the realm of the human world. I am defeated. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Observing Ideas. Probe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Ming Dynasty, Mount Hua, one of the 5 sacred mountains in the west, this is the sect headquarters of the Huashan Sect of the 5 sacred swords of the Ming Dynasty. The location of the water curtain waterfall, one of the wonders of Mount Hua, the eldest disciple of Huashan, Linghu Chong, lay on a huge rock and drank a small wine. He watched with a drunken smile as his junior sister Yu Lingshan scolded Dongfang Yun, the youngest disciple of the Huashan Sect, by the edge of the water pool below the waterfall. Junior brother. Why are you so stupid? You have been practicing the first move of Huashan swordsmanship, white clouds leaving the mountain, for half a month. Why are you still so powerless when wielding swords? Yu Lingshan screamed frantically, I'm going to be so angry with you. Senior brother. Don't drink anymore. Teach him. I'm teaching. I'm afraid I won't be able to survive tomorrow. Linghu Chong smiled intoxicated and said, Oh my. Junior sister. Don't worry. After all, junior brother has never been exposed to martial arts. You need to calm down and slowly teach him. One day he will learn. Humph, senior brother. You just want to be lazy and drink. Be careful, I'll tell my dad. Let him beat you up. Junior brother. You can play today first. Let the senior brother teach you tomorrow. Dongfang Yun nodded and said, Okay. Senior sister. After Dongfang Yun finished speaking this sentence, he threw the iron sword in his hand and ran to the edge of the pool, watching the swimming fish in the water. This scene infuriated Yu Lingshan. This little junior brother is really despicable. The swordsmanship I teach is not as interesting as swimming fish in the water. Senior brother. Let's improve the Chongling sword technique a bit. Okay. Linghu Chong immediately responded, he grabbed the iron sword beside him and flew up. Junior sister. Look at the sword. I'm here. Linghu Chong drank a bit too much alcohol today, he flashed past Yu Lingshan, his feet stumbled in an instant, the iron sword in his hand thrust unnaturally towards the eastern clouds by the water pool. Junior apprentice. Quickly dodge. Linghu Chong woke up instantly from his drunkenness, his sword was completely out of control, he couldn't stop sprinting out of his body. Yu Lingshan's face instantly turned pale. Quickly dodge. Junior brother. Watching Linghu Chong's iron sword about to pierce through Dongfang Yun with one sword, Dongfang Yun, squatting by the edge of the pool, had a body that turned around like a swimming fish, narrowly avoided Ling Hucheng's uncontrollable sword. Ling Hucheng looked at his junior apprentice with a surprised expression, who couldn't even learn a single sword move. Junior apprentice, what kind of body method are you using? Dongfang Yun smiled slightly and said, I observe the swimming fish in the water. Self-comprehending body techniques, do you understand the body method by watching fish? Ling Hucheng looked bewildered. Yu Lingshan walked over and said, Junior brother. Even if you happen to avoid danger, you can't brag, no. Junior sister. Junior brother didn't brag. His dodge just now was really impressive. It was like a swimming fish turning around. It was as fast as it could be. Humph. I don't believe it. Junior apprentice. Look at the sword. Yu Lingshan looked incredulous and stabbed Dongfang Yun with his sheathed sword. Dongfang Yun smiled slightly and said, Senior sister. You can't hit me now. The voice fell. He turned around in one go. In the blink of an eye, he turned behind Yu Lingshan. Yu Lingshan also lost the figure of Dongfang Yun in an instant. What? Yu Lingshan's reversal was like a thorn in the head. Dongfang Yun wandered around her like a swimming fish. Yu Lingshan's Huashan swordsmanship did not touch any corner of his clothes. Not for a while, Dongfang Yun sat panting on the ground. He can't sustain himself for long without internal strength. Yu Lingshan looked at Dongfang Yun with a gloomy expression and said, Junior brother. Are you teasing my senior sister? You can understand a set of body techniques by watching a swimming fish. How come I haven't made any progress in learning the Huashan sword technique for half a month? No. Senior sister. I don't know what's going on. As soon as I learn these routine sword moves, my mind feels lost. I can't remember them at all. But as long as I focus on just watching the trajectory of birds and fish, I feel like I can understand something. Nonsense. What you mean? I'm not as good as those birds and fish. Yu Lingshan's angry eyes widened. You stinky junior brother. Aren't you capable? Today, just show me the bird. If you can't understand anything, see how I deal with you. Dongfang Yun heard Yu Lingshan's words, his eyes lit up and he said, Good senior sister. Say it. He directly found a clean and dry stone and lay down, appreciating the unknown species of birds flying around with a contented expression. Yu Lingshan widened her eyes and looked at Ling Hucheng, saying, Senior brother. Did I get tricked by my junior brother? Well, I can't say for sure. Maybe he can really understand something. After all, the body method he used to dodge your attack just now is really like a swimming fish. Humph. I want to see how he understands. Yu Lingshan silently watched Dongfang Yun's every move as she practiced her sword. Dongfang Yun stared intently at the birds flying back and forth in the sky. As time passed, his double eyelids began to fight. In no time, he fell asleep. I don't know how long it has been, a tremendous force knocked him down from the stone. Aren't you observing birds? Why did you fall asleep? Are you observing birds in your dream? Yu Lingshan gritted her teeth and said. Dongfang Yun stood up and patted the soil on his body. He smiled and said, I have already gained some understanding. He walked to the edge of the pond and picked up his sword, saying, Swimming fish body method. Flying swallow sword technique. Please advise, senior sister. As soon as the words fell, the figure of Dongfang Yun rushed out like a swimming fish in the water. A cold light flashed through the iron sword in his hand. Like a swimming fish, the sword is like a flying swallow, arriving in an instant. Yu Lingshan's expression was startled. Dongfang Yun's sword completely surprised her. She quickly swung her sword to block it. However, the sword of Dongfang Yun is like a flying swallow, completely arbitrary. There is no regularity to speak of. The sword move changes instantly as it approaches. His figure, like a swimming fish, instantly bypassed Yu Lingshan and came behind her. The iron sword swept past Yu Lingshan's side. Sting! With a single sound, the clothes on Yu Lingshan's waist were instantly cut open. Yu Lingshan's expression was greatly shocked. She quickly flew back. I grabbed my waist tightly. Junior brother. You bastard. Her face instantly turned red. Dongfang Yun's sword almost exposed the skin on Yu Lingshan's waist. I'm sorry. Senior sister. This is my first time using a sword. I still can't retract and release it freely. Humph. I'm ignoring you. Yu Lingshan ran away with a flushed face. Senior brother. I won't offend senior sister anymore, will I? Gucheng laughed and said, it's okay. Isn't it just a little cut on the clothes? This is a common occurrence, but it's still the first time I've scratched my junior sister's clothes. Perhaps you've really offended her a bit. You better be careful from now on. Alright. Since your talent is so strange, junior brother, I will tell my master and mother. You will no longer be forced to learn the Huashan sword technique. You can understand it yourself. Dongfang Yun was instantly overjoyed. He quickly clenched his fists and said, thank you very much, senior brother. Gucheng walked towards the distance while drinking alcohol. How ironic. As someone in my 30s, I actually crossed over to a 14-year-old child. The 9-star ball is really a big joke to me. Dongfang Yun is not a person in this realm. He came here with a soul piercing from earth. He only knew that this was the Huashan Sect among the 5 sacred sword sect in the smiling and proud Jianghu. I don't know anything else. After all, he was already in Huashan when his soul passed through. I don't know if this is the world of comprehensive martial arts or simply the world of smiling and proud rivers and lakes. Sigh. Take a step and see. My ability to visualize is quite good. I can comprehend the martial arts on my own. Perhaps this is the golden finger that I used to travel through this world. In the Jingqi Hall of the Huashan Sect, Gucheng and Yu Lingshan informed Yu Buchuan and Ming Zizhong about Lin Feng's strange talent. Yu Buchuan stood up with a surprised expression and asked, what you said is true. Dad. Why don't you believe me? I personally experimented with it. How do you know that this is not inherited from his family or learned from outside? Gucheng and Yu Lingshan were instantly speechless. We really didn't expect this. Humph. Since we can't be sure, let's try him again. As you said, he can observe swimming fish and flying birds to understand martial arts. So, can he also understand something while watching you practice swordsmanship? Try him out tomorrow. I don't believe we people can't compare to birds and fish. Gucheng nodded and said, I understand. I will personally try him out tomorrow. You guys go down first. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Hunyuan Gong. Enlightenment. Conflict. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The next morning, the morning sun rises early. A small figure sat cross-legged on the roof, watching the first ray of sunlight in the sky and earth bloom from the sea of clouds. The eastern clouds are bathed in the sunrise glow. His eyes were tightly closed, wearing orange glow, sitting cross-legged on the roof like a fairy child. Yu Buchuan, as the head of Mount Hua, he wakes up early every day to practice the unique skill of the Huashan Qi sect, the purple cloud divine skill. After all, the first ray of morning glow is the most crucial step in cultivating the purple cloud divine skill. The morning glow comes and goes quickly. Yu Buchuan quickly sucked this downward breath into his body, refined with purple cloud true qi. Zixia divine skill is a pure Taoist method of cultivating qi and building foundations, but this divine skill requires a large amount of Chaoxia purple qi. Yu Buchuan has only been practicing this divine skill for 20 years since then. The purple cloud divine skill has only been cultivated to the level of Xiaocheng. There is still a long way to go before achieving great success. This isn't easy to get started with. the slow cultivation of Taoist foundational techniques, it is impossible to cultivate to great perfection without a long lifespan. After Yu Buchuan practiced the purple cloud divine skill for a small week, he stood up and planned to go back to the house. In a condescending situation, he saw the east cloud sitting on the roof, facing the sun. The orange sunlight shone on him like a rosy robe. Let Dongfang Yun be like a fairy child. Yu Buchuan looked at his little disciple with a surprised expression and said, I can only gather a trace of the morning mist purple energy every morning. This kid can swallow the morning mist energy without limit. What a joke. Is this kid practicing more powerful martial arts than the purple mist divine skill? Yu Buchuan quietly arrived behind Dongfang Yun, just waiting quietly for him to complete his exercise and breathing. Time passes by minute by second, the best ray of sunrise gradually turns into warm sunshine. Dongfang Yun slowly opened his eyes, he smiled comfortably and said, what a refreshing morning glow. I don't know when senior brothers and sisters can pass on my internal mental skills. I can't muster a little bit of internal strength just by swallowing and exhaling the morning glow on my own. At this moment, Yu Buchuan slowly spoke up and said, you want to learn internal mental skills? I can teach you. Dongfang Yun hesitated slightly, he turned his head and saw his master Yu Buchuan looking at him with a smile on his face. He quickly stood up and bowed, Master. Get up. Our Huashan Sect has 3 types of internal mental techniques. Embracing Yuan power, Hunyuan skill, and Zixia divine skill. Which one do you want to learn? Dongfang Yun said with a joyful expression, I want to learn Hunyuan Gong. Why? Hunyuan Gong is an internal mental technique that goes from the outside to the inside. Practicing it is extremely slow. And it also requires continuous physical torture. Master. Since this Hunyuan skill has the word Hunyuan, it can transform all internal forces. Of course I want to learn it. After all, I don't want to cultivate only one type of internal force. Yu Buchuan frowned tightly and said, do you still want to cultivate a few more internal forces? Do you know that once multiple internal forces collide? The lightest one is when the muscles and veins are completely broken and become useless. Besides, you want to cultivate multiple internal forces together. It's no different if you want to die with this one. Don't worry. Master. I won't easily cultivate another type of internal power. Dongfang Yun said with a smile. Yu Buchuan secretly said in his heart, since this kid wants to take a new path. Let this kid give it a try. Perhaps this is also an opportunity for my Huashan Sect. Success. It has also added a new way of cultivation to my Huashan Sect. It doesn't matter if you fail. It's just like losing an apprentice. On the surface, Yu Buchuan still showed an extremely serious expression. He said solemnly, you kid. Since you have chosen Hunyuan Gong, just give me honest cultivation. Don't aim too high. I thought about running before I learned how to walk. Isn't this seeking death? I understand. Please rest assured, Master. Yu Buchuan passed on the heart technique mnemonic of Huashan Hunyuan Gong to Dongfang Yun without reservation. Dongfang Yun left the roof with a joyful expression on his face. He needs to write down all the Hunyuan Gong, using observation ideas to repair and improve. Yu Buchuan was completely unaware of this. He couldn't have imagined that the little disciple he had accepted had already changed his soul. He couldn't have imagined that Dongfang Yun had a unique way of visualizing and using magic. After breakfast, Linghu Chong led a group of Huashan disciples to engage in daily sword cultivation at the Huashan martial arts arena. All disciples can fully practice a set of Huashan sword techniques without pulling a single thread. Only Dongfang Yun stood on the side with a bewildered expression, unsure of what to do. This made him extremely embarrassed. Linghu Chong let out a deep sigh and said to him, Junior brother. Stop practicing. Just focus on watching me practice swordsmanship. Okay. Senior brother. Dongfang Yun nodded. He wished he could quickly leave the team. After all, he wouldn't know so many people, this is simply making him a clown and being laughed at by others. Dongfang Yun has left the team. He focused on watching Ling Hucheng leading a group of Huashan disciples to practice swordsmanship on the edge of the martial arts arena. Ling Hucheng's Huashan swordsmanship has entered a stage of small success. A set of swordsmanship strikes very smoothly, there is no trace of error at all, even the slightest fluctuation of sword energy can be felt from his swordsmanship. Dongfang Yun watched as Ling Hucheng practiced the Huashan sword technique. He suddenly lost all his figures in his eyes. Only a black figure was left holding a sharp sword and moving up and down in his sight, swords crisscross, every move and sword reflects the rugged atmosphere of Mount Hua. Dongfang Yun unconsciously closed his eyes, his mind was filled with the posture of the black figure dancing with a sword. Just as he was fully immersed in comprehending the sword technique in his mind, after practicing swordsmanship, Lu Dayo suddenly pushed him and said, "Junior brother. We're all practicing swordsmanship. You're actually sleeping. Aren't you too disrespectful of us?" Dongfang Yun's mind is full of that unnamed sword technique. Lu Da has this suggestion, it gave him an instinctive resistance in an instant. His body followed the push of Lu Dayo, directly reverse, a cold light shot out of his hand in an instant. Lu Dayo was completely unprepared, I was directly pierced in the arm by an iron sword. Ah! A scream of agony immediately alarmed everyone. Lu Hoer. Ling Hucheng hurriedly ran over, he kicked the hand of Dongfang Yun holding the sword. Dongfang Yun's hand instantly spread the hilt of the sword, Ling Hucheng kicked it empty. His eyes were tightly closed, there is no intention of opening it up at all, the body lying on the ground instantly stood up, his figure twisted around Ling Hucheng in an instant. He grabbed the iron sword inserted into Lu Dayo's arm. With a swoop, the iron sword was pulled out directly, scarlet blood instantly spilled into the air. Lu Dayo let out another scream of agony, he collapsed directly to the ground with his arm in his arms. Bastard! Ling Hucheng was completely angry, he drew his sword directly at Dongfang Yun, whose eyes were tightly closed. One move, with a phoenix coming, is as fast as a gust of wind, piercing straight towards the clouds in the east. Dongfang Yun turned sideways when facing a sword with a murderous intent, rubbing the blade of the sword, he narrowly avoided it, the iron sword in his hand was as fast as lightning and sliced horizontally with his backhand. Across the sea of clouds and peaks. His crisp voice echoed directly throughout the room. With a piercing sound, the sound of clothes cutting sounds, Ling Hucheng looked at the clothes on his waist that had been cut open with shock on his face. The anger on Ling Hucheng's face grew even stronger. Bastard! How dare you use a killer on me? He was about to wield his sword again, Yu Buchuan's voice rang out. Chonger! Stop it, take Dayo down to heal the wound first. Master! Dongfang Yunhe. Humph. After practicing martial arts for so long. Can't you see that your junior brother is in a state of enlightenment? He doesn't even have consciousness now. Anyone who disturbs him will trigger his instinctive counterattack. Chonger. You probably had a killing intent just now. You should be grateful that Yun'er has just started practicing martial arts. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as simple as cutting open your clothes. Ling Hucheng's face instantly shed a cold sweat, he glanced with lingering fear at Dongfang Yun, who was standing there calmly with his eyes tightly closed and an iron sword in hand. He thought to himself, enlightenment. What kind of joke is this Qingming outing in happy reading? Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Accidental injury to fellow students. Being punished makes me miss the cliff. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ling Hucheng glanced coldly at Dongfang Yun, who was caught in an epiphany, and said, this matter is not over. Ling Hucheng and Laudi Nu took Lu Dayo to treat their injuries, and Yu Buchuan looked solemnly at Dongfang Yun, who was still closed in his eyes. He thought to himself, what exactly is this kid from? How long has he been practicing martial arts? He can actually enter the enlightenment that martial artists dream of directly. Dongfang Yun's enlightenment state lasted until lunchtime. Ling Hucheng and Yu Lingshan reluctantly stood by Yu Buchuan's command. Ling Hucheng looked at Dongfang Yun with a cold expression on his face and said, "You actually hurt Lu Hoer. When you wake up, I want you to get hurt once too." At this time, Yu Lingshan looked at Ling Hucheng with disdain on her face and said, "Senior brother. You've been torn by Xiao Yunzi's clothes. He's only been practicing martial arts for less than a month. Wait for him to wake up. You may not be able to defeat him in swordsmanship." Ling Hucheng listened to these words. He was stunned on the spot. After all, when he wanted to avenge Lu Dao, the sword pierced was his true strength, but it was still narrowly avoided by Dongfang Yun, and he also fought back and cut his clothes. Thinking of this, his face once again shed a cold sweat. He suddenly realized that his junior apprentice had only been practicing martial arts and swordsmanship for less than a month. Dongfang Yun's body has no internal strength at all. This indicates that his junior apprentice Dongfang Yun completely relied on his instinctive sword skills to cut open his clothes, almost injured him. If given Dongfang Yun 1 month's time, in this scene, it's not as simple as cutting clothes. He is afraid that Hucheng will have blood splattered on the spot. Over time, Dongfang Yun slowly opened his eyes. He unconsciously sighed and said, "So this is the Huashan sword technique." Dongfang Yun raised his iron sword in his hand. He transformed into a swimming fish in an instant. The sword is like a flying swallow. He practiced the Huashan sword technique that he had suddenly realized in this martial arts arena. The swimming fish body technique and the flying swallow sword technique are completely integrated into this new set of Huashan sword techniques. This set of swordsmanship, completely integrating the unique and dangerous mountain terrain of Huashan into it. The rainbow shines through the sun. Welcome to Cangsong. A gentle breeze is coming. One move is completely different from the original Huashan sword technique, which was practiced by Dongfang Yun. Every move and action is extremely dangerous. This made Ling Hucheng and Yu Lingshan, who were watching him practicing swordsmanship, sweat profusely on their faces. Ling Hucheng looked shocked and said, "Little junior brother, he has actually recreated the Huashan sword technique. And every move and technique is incredibly dangerous. The power is far beyond the Huashan sword technique we cultivate. Is this heaven joking with me, Ling Hucheng?" Yu Lingshan was completely pinned down by his junior brother. Her eyes widened, small mouth slightly open, looking incredulously at Dongfang Yun, who was constantly dancing swords in the audience. In no time, a brand new set of Huashan swordsmanship has been practiced by Dongfang Cloud. He slowly drew his sword and stood in front of Ling Hucheng and Yu Lingshan. "Senior brother. Senior sister. What's wrong with you?" The two of them instantly regained their senses. Ling Hucheng looked at Dongfang Yun with a complicated expression and said, "Do you know that you just stabbed your senior brother Lu's arm with a sword? You even scratched my senior brother's clothes. Almost hurt him." Yu Lingshan added closely after him. Dongfang Yun's face instantly turned pale, although he has now mastered several sets of martial arts, but after all, he has only been practicing martial arts for less than a month. He caused such a great disaster. It's hard to say that he will be expelled from the school by Yu Buchuan. At this moment, Dongfang Yun suddenly panicked. After all, he doesn't have the power to protect himself yet. In this world of martial arts filled with slaughter, maybe one who is not careful will die tragically on the spot. How can this not make him panic? Ling Hucheng saw his panic. His heart softened. The tone is no longer indifferent. He whispered, "Fortunately, senior brother Lu didn't hurt any bones. Besides, you didn't mean it. We will plead with master about this matter." "That's right. I will plead with my father. Don't worry." Yu Lingshan patted her slightly bulging chest. The three of them arrived at the Jingqi Hall. Yu Buchuan sat at the top with a serious expression on his face. He stared at Dongfang Yun and said, "Yuner, do you know that things like injuring our fellow disciples will be expelled from our prestigious and righteous sections? Master. I know I'm guilty. Dongfang Yun didn't know what to say for a moment. After all, he did indeed hurt Lu Dayo. Disciple. Willing to receive any punishment. Please do not expel your disciples from the sect, Master. Ling Huchong and Yu Lingshan were just about to plead for mercy. Yu Buchuan spoke up again and said, you don't have to plead for him either. It's not allowed for any noble or righteous sect to engage in fraternity like this. This is a great taboo. Although Yuner, you didn't mean to harm Dayo. There's no need to expel you from the sect. Although I won't expel you from the school as a teacher. But this punishment is absolutely unavoidable. Punish you to Sigua Cliff, be punished for 10 years. Do you have any objections? Dongfang Yun nodded helplessly and said, I am willing to be punished. Yu Buchuan nodded with great satisfaction. He said to Ling Huchong, Chonger, take him to Sigua Cliff. That's it, Dongfang Yun has just joined the Huashan Sect for less than a month. I was locked up at the Sigua Cliff and closed my door to ponder. However, this actually helped him. On the Huashan Sigua Cliff, not just a place to punish disciples, it is also a place where disciples of the Huashan Sword Sect practice swordsmanship in seclusion. The first swordsman of the young generation of the Huashan Sword Sect, the dragon swordsman Hua Shaokuan, was practicing swordsmanship in seclusion on the Sigua Cliff. The arrival of Dongfang Cloud, let him also be surprised. He smiled and said, Junior brother. You were punished less than a month after you started. Senior brother Hua. Don't tease me. I accidentally injured senior brother Lu. That's why I was punished. And I'll have to stay at Sigua Cliff for 10 years. I'm really unlucky too. Since it was an accidental injury. There shouldn't have been such a heavy punishment. Isn't Uncle Yu a bit excessive? Forget it. Senior brother Hua. Let's not discuss our elders here. Dongfang Yun said nonchalantly. All right. I'm going to practice swordsmanship. If you like to watch it, just stay away and watch. Don't hurt you by mistake. Don't worry. Senior brother Hua. I'm very sorry for my life. Hua Shaokuan walked to the open space and began practicing the unique skill of the Huashan Sword Sect, the Dragon Sword Technique. At this time, in the depths of Dongfang Yun's heart, he cursed and said, how could Hua Shaokuan appear here? Wasn't the Huashan Sword Sect separated from Huashan long ago? Isn't this the world of Xiaoao Jianghu? Why did the dragon warrior Hua Shaokuan also appear in the world of sword god Xie Xiaofeng? Is this world a world of comprehensive martial arts? Dongfang Yun thought of this, his inner self constantly echoed with the words, lying trough. At this time, Hua Shaokuan wields his sword like a dragon. In a moment, the sword light on the open ground of Sigua Cliff is dazzling, swordsmanship is surging, his figure was like a wandering dragon, swaying and moving. Dongfang Yun unconsciously applied the method of visualization to watch Hua Shaokuan practice the Hulong sword technique. A brilliant golden dragon gradually appeared in his mind, wandering in the sky. The body of the golden dragon shuttles through the sea of clouds, the sound of dragon chants echoed in the sky. His eyes unconsciously closed tightly, and sat cross-legged on the ground. I quietly entered the state of contemplation and contemplation. The method of visualization, first observe, then think. Dongfang Yun's innate ability can be described as a divine skill. Hua Shaokuan has practiced a set of dragon sword techniques countless times. His internal strength was almost squandered. At this point, he stopped. He saw Dongfang Yun sitting there with his eyes tightly closed. He smiled and said, this little junior brother is really interesting. Look at me practicing swordsmanship. I've fallen into a state of concentration. If time passes, I will have another top swordsman in Huashan. The voice fell. Hua Shaokuan turned around with a smile and entered the cave to restore his internal strength. Dongfang Yun learned a sword technique from Hua Shaokuan's dragon sword technique. He named this sword technique Flying Dragon Piercing the Cloud. At this point, Dongfang Yun began his journey of asceticism on the Sigua Cliff. In a blink of an eye, 3 months have passed. Dongfang Yun used all the morning sun energy he had swallowed and absorbed during this period to condense his body. This also led him to skip the first step of practicing Hunyuan Gong, which was to beat his body. The sunrise energy contains the purest spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The term Zi Qi Dong Lai refers to a spiritual energy formed during the early morning when the sun first rises. This spiritual energy is of great use to all practitioners, although this spiritual energy will be generated whenever there is a sunrise, but not every practitioner can absorb it. Even the ultimate skill of the Huashan Sect, the purple cloud divine skill, can only absorb a trace of the Chaoxia purple qi. Dongfang Yun took 3 months to learn Hunyuan Gong. His internal strength is due to the excessive purity of the Chaoyang purple qi. His internal power cultivation in the past 3 months can be compared to the annual internal power cultivation of an ordinary warrior. The 4 martial arts techniques he created through observing ideas, namely the swimming fish body technique, the flying swallow sword technique, the perilous Huashan sword, and the flying dragon piercing through the clouds, have even reached the realm of transformation. After all, this is his technique of self-awareness. He is completely adept and effortless in his cultivation. On this day, the sky is gloomy, a drizzling rain falls, waves of cool breeze blew into the cave. Dongfang Yun tightened his tight clothes and stood at the cave entrance, watching the continuous drizzle enveloping the earth. Just as Dongfang Yun admires the mountain scenery in the rain, on the necessary path to enter the Sigua cliff, a crisp voice came. Shenzhen Villa. Xia Xiaofeng. Come and challenge the dragon swordsman. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Going down the mountain without permission. Sword defeat 4 shows. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The young master Xia Xiaofeng, who was only 14 years old at Shenzhen Villa, appeared on the mountain path of Sigua Cliff holding the Xia family divine sword. The sharp sword intent surged up the mountain path. Hua Shaokuan looked out of the cave with a serious expression and said, "What a sharp sword intent. You truly deserve to be from the divine sword villa. Dongfang junior brother. You better not leave the cave. This person is not kind. I'll come soon." Hua Shaokuan picked up his sword and flashed out of the cave. Dongfang Yun doesn't trust Hua Shaokuan to face the challenger alone. He also followed closely behind him. On the empty ground in front of the Sigua cliff, in the drizzle, a young man stood in the rain holding a sharp sword. There was a sharp sword intent looming around him. Hua Shaokuan looked at the young man in front of him. His face turned completely black and he said, "Kid. Are you from the Divine Sword Villa coming to attack the face of our Huashan Sect? Surprisingly, you have a child challenge me. Even if I win, I, Hua Shaokuan, will end up with a reputation of bullying others." Xia Xiaofeng stared at Hua Shaokuan with sharp eyes. He spoke slowly and said, "Stop talking nonsense. Do you take my challenge or not? Okay. Let's just curse. Even Hua Shaokuan can't carry a name that doesn't dare to fight. Since there's no way out now, then I can only bully the small with the big one. Third young master of the Xia family. Please use your sword." Hua Shaokuan's words fell. Xia Xiaofeng said coldly, "Let me draw my sword first. Don't regret it." With a resounding sound, the sword is unsheathed. Xia Xiaofeng's figure rushed out like lightning, stealing the heavens and changing the sun. Seizing the sword move. Hua Shaokuan's face instantly changed. Xia Xiaofeng's figure turned into a phantom directly in his sight. He quickly drew his sword and used the dragon sword technique. In an instant, the sword energy surged. The momentum of the dragon's journey spread in all directions. However, just as Hua Shaokuan was on high alert, Xia Xiaofeng's wandering 7 or 8 illusions are all normalized. The sword light of Morihan streaks through the void, through the rain curtain. Hua Shaokuan stood still with his sword in place. The sharp sword in Xia Xiaofeng's hand has landed on his throat. Dragon warrior. But that's all. Farewell. Xie Xiaofeng withdrew his sword, walk out without any attachment. At this point, Dongfang Yun walked out from the rain curtain. He looked at Xie Xiaofeng's back with a calm expression and said, Xie Xiaofeng. Today you just defeated me, the Huashan Sect. After a month, I, Dongfang Yun, will definitely visit you. Xie Xiaofeng turned his head to look at Dongfang Yun and said, okay. I'll wait for you. Under the rain curtain, Xie Xiaofeng's face became solemn. He felt a sword-like intent from Dongfang Yun that was no weaker than his. He has never seen this sword-like intent before. Moreover, it is not easy for a swordsman to comprehend the meaning of the sword. Any swordsman who understands the meaning of the sword is a well-known first-class swordsman in the martial arts world, and he has a strong talent in swordsmanship. Xie Xiaofeng. He is one of the few swordsmanship geniuses in the Xie family of Xinjiang Mountain Villa in the past century. He thought he had already stood at the top of swordsmanship among his peers, but today he met another swordsmanship genius who was no less than himself, and their ages are also similar. Actually, both of them are 14 years old, it's just that Xie Xiaofeng is not clear. Hua Xiaokuan looked at Dongfang Yun with a pale face and said, Dongfang junior brother. You shouldn't have spoken. If I lose, I will lose. But come to challenge me. If I fail again, then Huashan will become a laughing stock in the martial arts world. Dongfang Yun smiled slightly and said, it's okay. Senior brother Hua. I have already seen through his swordsmanship. What? Hua Xiaokuan widened his eyes and looked incredulous, because he didn't even understand how he was defeated, but Dongfang Yun actually said he saw through Xie Xiaofeng's swordsmanship. How does this make him believe? Dongfang Yun knew that Hua Xiaokuan did not believe his words. He acted directly to make him believe. With a resounding sound, iron sword unsheathed, the figure of Dongfang Yun split into 8 in an instant, 8 illusions, appearing in 4 different directions. Hua Xiaokuan widened his eyes, stunned in shock. He stood still. The 8 illusions of Dongfang Yun merged into 1 in an instant. A sword light pierced through the rain curtain and appeared directly in front of him. Watching the cold and sharp blade stop in front of him, he unconsciously swallowed a mouthful of water and said, how could you perfectly replicate the unique skill of the Xie family, the sword-stealing technique of the heaven and the sun? Just copy the cat and draw the tiger. It's not difficult. Others' swordsmanship. I don't need it. Even if I know it, I don't plan to use it. After a month, Xie Xiaofeng will definitely be defeated. Senior brother Hua. You just have a good look. Dongfang Yun collected his sword and turned to walk towards the cave. He watched the drizzle and Xie Xiaofeng's swordsmanship. He already had a different feeling in his heart. What he needs now is to fully absorb this feeling. A month has slowly passed. Apart from normal eating and drinking, Dongfang Yun, the remaining time is spent in meditation. This left Hua Xiaokuan completely bewildered. He didn't know where Dongfang Yun came from and said he could defeat Xie Xiaofeng with confidence. After all, Xie Xiaofeng cannot stand still. A month may not be long, but it will also make his swordsmanship more refined and proficient. Even his sword intent may condense once again. There are only 3 days left until the end of the month. Dongfang Yun finally stopped meditating. He walked out of the cave. Senior brother Hua. I'm going down the mountain. This time I'm secretly leaving. Don't let my master know. Be careful. There are many things you don't know when you first enter the martial arts world. It's better not to offend anyone if you can. You can't hide your secret descent from the mountain for long. I know. My ambition is not on Mount Hua. I have to leave sooner or later. Now I have the power to protect myself. Okay. I won't say much anymore. Anyway, being careful won't harm you. Hua Xiaokuan also knew that his persuasion was useless. Dongfang Yun left Sigua Cliff without any attachment and embarked on the path of the martial arts world that belonged exclusively to him as a traveler. In the towns below Mount Hua, a brothel called Baihualu has launched a flower queen, named Dongfang Bubi, because it has the same name as the leader of the Sun Moon Divine Church. it attracted a large number of wealthy young masters and literati to come. However, these lecherous people do not know, the true identity of the flower queen Dongfang Bubi, who was pursued by them, is the leader of the Sun-Moon Divine Sect. It is also the true Asia the Invincible. Ling Hucheng, Lu Dayo, and Yu Lingshan went down the mountain to purchase. At night, the three of them planned to find an inn to stay overnight. Dongfang Bubi walked in the dark alley wearing gorgeous clothes. The Qingjing four shios of the Qingjing sect coincidentally collided with Dongfang Bubi. Qingjing Xishio saw the beautiful appearance of Dongfang Bubi, their hearts lit up instantly, blocked her way, and constantly teasing the other person with words. Little did they know that they were just probing back and forth at the entrance of the gates of hell. This scene happened to be seen by Ling Hucheng and the three of them. Ling Hucheng stood up and harshly scolded Qingjing Xishio. Now it can make the four shows of Qingjing lively. The four of them drew their swords and instructed the fox to charge forward. Although Ling Hucheng is the eldest disciple of Huashan Sect, his martial arts skills are not weak either, but we need to deal with four elite disciples of the Qingjing sect at once. He is still a bit lacking in heat. A conflict is inevitable. Ling Hucheng also forcefully twisted his nose and fought against Qingjing Xishio. He's okay with 2 fights, but hit 4 at once. He is really not a match. Watching Ling Hucheng about to die under the sword of Qingjing Xishio, Dongfang Bubi is about to take action. Suddenly, a sword light flashed through the void. Ho Renning let out a scream in an instant. His sword-wielding arm instantly splattered with blood. One arm fell directly onto the ground. Senior brother. Don't be safe. Dongfang Yun's figure stood in front of Ling Hucheng at some point. Dongfang Bubi's eyes lit up slightly. She thought to herself, what a powerful sword. Junior brother. Why did you come down the mountain? Hee. I went down the mountain without permission. Don't tell my master. A month ago. Xia Xiaofeng from Xinjian Mountain Villa defeated senior brother Hua with a sword in front of me. I will avenge senior brother Hua for this. You're going to challenge Xia Xiaofeng. You're crazy. How long have you been practicing martial arts? Ling Hucheng's face was almost frightened. However, at this time, the remaining 3 members of Qingjing Xishio also reflected from the tragic situation of Ho Renning's broken arm. Are you, Huashan, going to war with our Qingjing sect? How dare you make such a fierce move? You must die. As soon as the words fell, all 3 of them greeted Dongfang Yun with their sharp swords in their hands. Dongfang Yun smiled slightly. He is like a swimming fish, passing through the 3 swords by a hair's breadth. Just as he passed through the siege of 3 people, the sword light suddenly rose. Across the sea of clouds and peaks. The waist and body of the 3 members of Qingjing Xishio were instantly splattered with blood. They screamed in agony as they covered their waist. Ling Hucheng was completely shocked and said, how could this be? What did you do on the Sigua cliff? It turned out to be so amazing. It's nothing. It's just normal cultivation. Senior brother. Senior brother Lu. Junior sister. Please keep it a secret for me. I'll take a step first. Dongfang Yun's figure disappeared from their sight like a gust of wind. Yu Renhao covered his waist, which was bleeding profusely. He put down a harsh sentence and said, Huashan Sect. Wait for me. This matter is not over. The voice fell. Qingjing Xishio suffered a miserable defeat. Ling Hucheng shrugged and said, it's like our Huashan sect is afraid of you. Girl. It's not safe for you to be alone at night. You better go home quickly. Thank you for saving me, young heroes. I will go home now. Dongfang Bubi pretended to throw down this sentence. She hurriedly walked out of the alley. Yu Lingshan said with a frightened expression, this is over. We will definitely be punished when we return to the mountain. Little Yunzi actually cut off one of the arms of a disciple from Qingjing. Once my father finds out about this, he will definitely hand over little Yunzi to the Qingjing sect for disposal. What should we do? Ah. It depends on whether junior brother can defeat Xie Xiaofeng, the descendant of the divine sword Villa. Xie Xiaofeng, the third young master of Xinjian Mountain Villa, defeated senior brother Hua of the Sword Sect. How could Xiao Yunzi possibly win him? Linghu Chong let out a deep sigh and said, "You're right." At the age of only 14, Xie Xiaofeng surprisingly defeated senior brother Hua, who had already entered the realm of first-class swordsman, just with his swordsmanship. Junior brother, I have only been practicing martial arts and swordsmanship for less than half a year. How can he win? I should have stopped him just now. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Asia Pacific's Focus. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Linghu Chong is regretting. At this moment, Lu Daio spoke up and said, "Senior brother. I want to say. According to the swordsmanship of the younger martial brother who quickly killed the disciples of the Qingqing sect. I'm afraid you can't stop him, Yu. Linghu Chong was speechless for a moment. Yu Lingshan looked at the two of them with a speechless expression on her face and said, "All right, stop talking about these useless things. Let's think about how to help Xiao Yunzi hide it. Paper can't contain fire. As long as the four scum of Qingqing return to Qingqing Mountain, Shifu will surely know. Yu Canghai will also come to ask for guilt. At that time, the younger martial brother can't hide the fact that he went down the mountain without permission." The three of them exchanged a glance at each other. They all have a worried expression on their faces. Dongfang Bubi did not return to the 100 Flowers Tower. She quickly caught up with Dongfang Yun, who had already left. He. Little brother. Why are you walking so fast? Playing with my sister for a while. Dongfang Bubi stopped in front of Dongfang Yun like a ghost. Dongfang Yun stopped. He looked inexplicably at Dongfang Bubi. He knew in his heart that the woman in front of him might be the leader of the Sun and Moon cult, Dongfang Bubi, so he asked knowingly, "Sister. You know martial arts. Why did you deceive my senior brothers and sisters?" He. I'm ready to kill those four brats. Your senior brothers and sisters jumped out and meddled in their own affairs. It's not my fault. I didn't lie to them. What kind of person are you, sister? And why are you blocking my way? Are you going to challenge the third young master of the Divine Sword Villa? Yes. Do you know that Xie Xiaofeng has now entered the pinnacle of first-class swordsman? It doesn't matter. He just became a master of swordsmanship. He can't stop me from challenging him. Although senior brother Hua's relationship with me is not that intimate. After all, we spend our days together on the Sigua cliff. We have also developed some feelings. Xie Xiaofeng defeated him with a sword in front of me. This not only hit the face of my Huashan Sect, but also made me feel very uncomfortable. Since he makes my thoughts difficult to understand, then I also need him to make my thoughts clear. I have a way to defeat him. Dongfang Bubi smiled coquettishly and said, "Little brother. You're so interesting. You can speak so delicately about recklessness. Sister, can you please step aside? It's not much time since my appointment. I don't want to break up. He. Let me show you how many pounds and liang you weigh. How dare you be so fearless of the reputation of the Divine Sword Villa?" The figure of Dongfang Bubi flashed, instantly appeared in front of Dongfang Yun. A palm as fast as light and electricity struck his forehead with a swift and violent force. Faced with such a swift palm from Dongfang Bubi, Dongfang Yun's body turned around like a swimming fish and then turned behind Dongfang Bubi. Little brother, that's a bit interesting. Dongfang Bubi was startled by Dongfang Yun's body movements. The fragments of the sunflower classic cultivated by Dongfang Bubi have grown in speed, and its internal strength is also extremely strong. Dongfang Bubi exerted a speed of 50%. At this moment, the eye-catching feature of Dongfang Yun is all the red shadows reflected on Dongfang Bubi's robe. Chang. With a single sound, the iron sword is unsheathed. Faced with the speed of Dongfang Bubi, which is like a ghost, he is no match at all. After all, Asia the Invincible is the pinnacle of the Grandmaster's realm. He is not something that a rookie who has been practicing martial arts for less than half a year can compete against. Moreover, Dongfang Bubi did not use the Sunflower Flying Shadow, a lightness skill from the fragments of the Sunflower Classic, to bully him, just using Sunflower internal power to drive the ethereal body method commonly used by the Sun and Moon Divine cult to test Dongfang Yun. Even so, Dongfang Yun's eyesight cannot keep up with her speed. Dongfang Yun knows, he must wait until the moment when Dongfang Bubi launches an attack to reveal his true body in order to wield his sword. Only then can the sword be drawn, otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to tell how to wield a sword from his illusion in true form. He will never do anything useless, this will only make him look foolish. Dongfang Bubi uses the ethereal body technique to continuously rotate around Dongfang Yun's body, continuously teasing him. However, Dongfang Yun is like an old monk settling down, he stood motionless with his iron sword in hand. An inexplicable sword intent loomed over him. He. Little brother. You have also understood the meaning of the sword. It seems that you still have a great chance of defeating Xie Xiaofeng. The figure of Dongfang Bubi appeared behind him, she lightly extended her hand and patted Dongfang Yun's shoulder. What she didn't expect was, just as her palm touched Dongfang Yun's shoulder, a sword light bloomed in her sight. A gentle breeze is coming. The drizzle is continuous. The sword light exploded open, Dongfang Yun swung his sword dozens of times in a row at this moment, sword lights enveloped Dongfang Bubi's entire body like drizzle. The figure of Dongfang Bubi drifted back lightly, at the same time, her sleeve flicked lightly, all the sword light emitted by Dongfang Yun dissipated in this moment. Dongfang Yun's body was unnaturally shaken back a few steps by this energy. He stood still in his steps, jump up with one leap, in mid-air, under the bright moon, Dongfang Yun swung his sword and stabbed it. The sound of a dragon's roar echoed through the void. Flying dragons pierced through the clouds. The powerful sword is like a divine dragon piercing through the clouds, arrived in front of Dongfang Bubi in an instant. With a ding sound, the blade of the iron sword stopped at the throat of Dongfang Invincible. This was not stopped by Dongfang Yun, but instead, Dongfang Bubi stretched out two iron swords as fast as lightning to grip him. What a sword! The flying dragon pierces through the clouds. It seems that your Huashan Sect doesn't have this move. And your lightness skill and body method are not from Huashan Sect, right? Dongfang Bubi released two fingers, and Dongfang Yun also took advantage of the situation and put away his iron sword. He could feel that Dongfang Bubi had no intention of killing him, so he didn't make any progress either. These are all created by me in the past 6 months. Sister has such high martial arts skills. I wonder if you are the female hero in the martial arts world. Self-created. It took 6 months. Little brother, how long have you been practicing martial arts? Half a year. Dongfang Bubi widened his eyes and said, you can create your own martial arts skills after practicing for 6 months. Do you think I'm easy to deceive, sister? Don't believe it. I have to leave. Don't bother me anymore. Tell me your name. I'll let you go. Huashan Sect. Dongfang Yun. Dongfang Bubi frowned and said, do you also have the surname Dongfang? What do you mean? It's nothing. You go. Dongfang Yun collected his sword and returned it to its sheath. He walked towards the outside of the town with a speechless expression on his face. Dongfang Bubi looked at Dongfang Yun's departure with a smile on his face and said, revival the East. You can create your own martial arts skills after practicing martial arts for 6 months. I don't know if what this little guy is saying is true or false. After talking to herself for a moment, a flash instantly disappeared from the street without a trace. Baihua Tower, it is a sub-altar of the Sun-Moon Divine Sect that collects intelligence from the martial arts world. Dongfang Bubi stood in the room with a domineering expression, watching several subordinates kneeling on the ground. She spoke up and said, "You immediately arrange for someone to investigate. Is there a young man named Dongfang Yun among the disciples who entered the Huashan Sect 6 months ago? Find out his background for me. I'll obey you, my subordinate." Dongfang Yunfeng's dining and camping journey westward, finally arrived at the gate of the Divine Sword Villa. He rudely knocked on the door of the Divine Sword Villa and said, "Huashan Dongfang Yun. Follow the agreement. Come and challenge." The gate of Shenzhen Villa slowly opens. An old man walked out and said, "Young Xia Dongfang. How dare you come? Is there anything I dare not do? Okay. You're amazing. I'll go notify the third young master." Dongfang Yun walked unobstructed into the Divine Sword Villa, under the leadership of the butler. He arrived at the martial arts arena of the Divine Sword Villa. Someone is already challenging Xie Xiaofeng on the martial arts arena. The person who challenges Xie Xiaofeng is a ghost with a withered face, a boy holding a bone sword, seems to be older than him and Xie Xiaofeng in terms of age. It is estimated to be around 16 or 17 years old. Dongfang Yun secretly guessed in his heart, "Isn't this person the deadly swordsman Yen 13? If Xie Xiaofeng could hear his inner voice, he would definitely say, "You guessed too accurately." The situation on the field can be easily seen by discerning people at a glance. The outcome of this match has already been determined. Yen 13 was defeated, and Xie Xiaofeng was unscathed. "Brother Xie. You should take a break first. I don't want to take advantage of you." Xie Xiaofeng glanced at Dongfang Yun and said, "Sure." Yen 13 walked down from the martial arts arena and said, "Who are you? What qualifications do you have to challenge Xie Xiaofeng? Are you qualified? I'll know if you've played." "Humph. I want to see what skills you have to challenge Xie Xiaofeng." Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6 Sword Destruction. Give up. Inquisition. Visualize. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time has arrived at noon, the scorching sun shines brightly. The scorching sun shone on the martial arts arena of Shenzhen Villa. Xie Xiaofeng held the Xie family divine sword and stood on both sides with Dongfang Yun. Dongfang Yun's eyes sparkled with brilliance. Before he arrived at the divine sword villa, his strength has once again risen to a higher level, because of the obstruction of Dongfang Bubi. Let him see the unique ethereal body technique of the sun and moon cult and the move, sunflower in the sunflower scripture. Although Dongfang Bubi did not fully exert its sunflower sun, but as long as it is used in front of him, he can rely on his observation to deduce his own unique martial arts skills. Dongfang Yun will combine the ethereal body method and the swimming fish body method derived from it, created a brand new body technique and lightness skill called Fish and Dragon Versatile. The two faced off against each other under the scorching sun, the sharp sword intent on Xie Xiaofeng's body constantly condensed, and Dongfang Yun's body also exuded a strange and dangerous sword intent. Outside the martial arts arena, Yen 13 felt a strange and dangerous sword intent from Dongfang Yun, who was about to fall into the abyss by one step. His eyes suddenly shrank and he said, "This sword-like intent. I've never heard of it before. It's like a perilous mountain peak. One wrong step leads to a vast abyss. Your sword intent. It's very strong. Did you understand it based on the terrain of Mount Hua? Hee. You can think so." Dongfang Yun's answer has just landed. Xie Xiaofeng swung his sword in an instant. 8 different forms of illusions suddenly appeared in all directions. Stealing the heavens and changing the sun. Seizing the sword move. Dongfang Yun's eyes narrowed slightly. At the moment when Xie Xiaofeng's 8 illusions merge into one, he leaped up with a single leap. Flying dragons pierce through the clouds. Sword light flickers, their swords collided head-on. A buzzing sound, Xie Xiaofeng's sword let out a mournful cry, but at least this sword is a refined divine weapon, just being knocked off the tip of the sword. And the iron sword in Dongfang Yun's hand directly broke into 4 or 5 sections. 2 people can separate at a touch. Dongfang Yun looked at the sword with only the hilt in his hand with a bewildered expression and said, "Lie down. I only have this sword." Dongfang Yun threw the hilt aside with a sorrowful and indignant expression, and Xie Xiaofeng's palm, holding the Xie family sword, was trembling slightly. If not observed carefully, it's really not possible to discover. Xie Xiaofeng's abnormality was not noticed by the servants of the Xie family, but as a first-class swordsman, Yen 13 still saw Xie Xiaofeng's slightly trembling palm. Yen Shisan thought to himself, if Dongfang Yun's sword were even better. Will Xie Xiaofeng suffer a big defeat today? Dongfang Yun, who no longer had a sword on the martial arts arena, turned to look at Xie Xiaofeng with a helpless expression and said, "Brother Xie. It seems that we can only face each other with a sword. I left Sigua Cliff without permission. It's just this iron sword. How about we end up in a draw?" "No need. I, Xie Xiaofeng, am not someone who cannot afford to lose. If you have a good sword, I will definitely lose. Your sword is like a divine dragon soaring into the sky, piercing the clouds and breaking the moon. It is swift and fierce. I can no longer wield my sword." The family heirloom sword in Xie Xiaofeng's hand fell directly to the ground. A few drops of fresh blood dripped from his palms. Xie Wangsun, the head of Xinjian Mountain Villa, walked into the martial arts arena with a gloomy expression and said, "What a Huashan Sect. I will definitely find this venue in Xinjian Mountain Villa. Butler. See off guests." Dongfang Yun and Yen 13 were immediately kicked out. At the same time, Yu Canghai from Qingqing sect arrived at the Jingqi Hall of Huashan Sect with a group of elite disciples. In front of the Jingqi Hall, Yu Canghai angrily questioned Yu Buchuan, "Master Yu. Your Huashan sect is very good. Go lousy. Your Huashan disciple injured 3 of our sect's disciples. What's even more outrageous is that you even broke one arm of our beloved disciple. Please hand over this person, Master Yu. Otherwise, I don't mind going to war with the Huashan sect." Yu Buchuan turned his head to look at Linghu Chong with a gloomy expression and said, "Chonger. What the hell is going on here?" Linghu Chong said helplessly, "Master. I'm sorry. We lied." The voice fell. Linghu Chong, Yu Lingshan, and Lu Daio all knelt down together. "What exactly happened? You recruited me truthfully." "Dad. It's Xiao Yunzi. He went down the mountain without permission. He wants to avenge senior brother Hua. Save the lost face for our Huashan sect." Coincidentally encountering senior brother besieged by the 4 shios of Qingqing. Watching senior brother dying under the sword of Qingqing Sishio. Xiao Yunzi intervened to save them. Hurt them. Yu Buchuan's face changed slightly and he said, "Do you think being a teacher is easy to deceive? Yun Er has been practicing martial arts for less than half a year. The skills he brought have injured the elite disciples of the Qingqing sect." Linghu Chong reluctantly spread out his hand and said, "Master. He even dares to challenge the 3rd young master of the legendary sword villa in the martial arts world. What's impossible about this?" "This." Yu Buchuan immediately sat on the wax. At the moment of confrontation between the 2 factions, Lao Dino, the 2nd disciple of Huashan Sect, rushed from the foot of the mountain with a panicked expression and said, "Master. What a big deal, junior brother," challenged Xie Xiaofeng. "We won." Yu Buchuan's face changed drastically and he said, "What are you talking about? How could this be possible? Xie Xiaofeng has already reached the pinnacle of being a first-class swordsman. He can defeat first-class swordsmen in less than half a year." After learning martial arts, Yu Canghai sneered at Yu Buchuan and said, "Master Yu. Don't act for me here. Just one sentence. Do you have any friends or not? Master Yu has such great authority. Do you think our Huashan Sword Sect doesn't exist? Huashan Sword Sect Divine Sword Immortal 8 Mu Renqing, he led the dragon swordsman Hua Shaokuan and the golden snake king Yuan Qingji to the front of the Jingqi Hall. The day after tomorrow, Mu Renqing appeared in the Peak Master realm. Suddenly, Yu Canghai unconsciously gave way. Yu Buchuan and his wife saw the arrival of Mu Renqing. They quickly bowed and said, not in the crowd, then in the middle. See Uncle Mu. Humph. You're not a group. You're going to ruin the face of my Huashan sect. Even a small Qingqing sect dares to stand on our heads and defecate. You dare not even say a tough word. You are such a cowardly leader. It's not as good as your little disciple. He dares to come down the mountain to avenge me in Huashan after half a year of learning martial arts. Although his behavior is too impulsive, I really appreciate it. Hua Shaokuan looked at Yu Canghai with cold eyes and said, Master Yu. Hua Shaokuan was indeed defeated by Xie Xiaofeng's sword. But I still have more than enough to deal with your Qingqing sect. Yu Canghai swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said, Humph. You Huashan sect are trying to overpower others, right? Okay. Let's wait and see. I just don't know how the Left Alliance leader of the Five Mountain Sword sect will handle this matter. Yu Buchuan's face instantly became very ugly. The martial arts realm of Left Cold Zen is no less than that of Mu Renqing, and his unique icy aura cannot be carried by anyone. Maybe they will be frozen to death by the cold energy entering their bodies. Yu Canghai led a group of disciples to leave the Huashan sect in a fit of rage. Mu Renqing looked sharply at the direction of the Qingqing sect's departure and said, You little disciple entered the martial arts world without permission. With his unique talent, I'm afraid he will completely disrupt our Ming Dynasty martial arts world. Taisher uncle. Aren't Zio Yunzi coming back? Hee hee. This kid has caused such a big trouble. Do you think even at the age of 14, he dares to come back? This. At the foot of Mount Hua, Yu Canghai said coldly, Renyan. How many people are you taking to Fuzhou? Let's inquire about the situation of Fuwei Escort Agency. It's best to let the Fuwei Escort Agency take the initiative to offend us. This way, we have a formal reason to snatch the Lin family's exorcism sword manual. Don't worry, Dad. I will definitely handle it well. Yen 13 and Dongfang Yun, who were driven out of the Divine Sword Villa, unexpectedly walked together in a dilapidated temple and lit a fire. Kid. Where are you going next? Are you going back to Huashan? I won't go back for now. Otherwise, I will be punished again. And on the way back, I will also depose the 4 beauties of Qingqing, 1 injury and 3 injuries. Yu Canghai, this crazy dog, won't give up easily. Brother Yen. I wonder if you have any way to make money. Murder. Dongfang Yun hesitated slightly. He only then remembered that Yen 13's profession of making money was a killer, wasn't it? He nodded helplessly and said, Take me with you. I have no more money on me now. Okay. You defeated Xie Xiaofeng. I'll help you. The two spent the night in this dilapidated temple. At midnight, the sky is dark and gloomy. It seems that rainstorm is coming. Dongfang Yun is unable to absorb the energy of the sunrise for cultivation. He returned to the dilapidated temple with a speechless expression on his face, and at this time, before the temple was destroyed, Yen 13 surprisingly practiced their Yen family's deadly 13 swords without any hesitation. In the concept of Yen 13, there is no hierarchy at all. You have learned the skills from my drill, that's also your skill. He will not obstruct recklessly. This allowed Dongfang Yun to smoothly review all the moves and routines of the 13 deadly swords. The moves of the 13 deadly swords were deeply imprinted in his mind like pictures. After recording all the sword moves of the 13 deadly swords, he directly entered the ruined temple, sitting cross-legged into meditation. Reviewing ideas once again, this time, his mind no longer revolves around imagining a particular technique, he also incorporated some fragmented moves into it. For example, several moves of the Pine Wind Sword technique that Ximen Chuixue once used, although their performance may seem contradictory, but it can also give some inspiration to Dongfang Yun. Outside the dilapidated temple, rainstorm poured in a flash, the sky has completely darkened. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Enlightenment in the Rain. Once you step into the Master. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yen 13 raised a fire in the dilapidated temple, and grilled the wild chicken on the fire, and Dongfang Yun's eyes were tightly closed, his mind was completely immersed in the sea of consciousness. In his mind, a black figure holding a sharp sword shuttled through the sky like a soaring dragon, waves of dragon chants echoed through the sky. When this figure falls from the sky and earth are all dark, a flash of sword light broke through this dim world, the whole world seems to be illuminated by this sword light. The sky is clear and the earth is bright. A heavenly voice echoed through the sky. The bright sword light falls from the sky to the earth, the dim sky and earth instantly brightened up. This sword is a deadly move that combines the three sword meanings of Qi Dang, Hulong, and invisible. Dongfang Yun's mind was completely immersed in this special sword intent. Time flows slowly away, the storm outside the ruined temple poured down, I don't know how long it has been. Dongfang Yun slowly opened his eyes, a sharp sword light flashed through his eyes. Yen 13's eyes suddenly shrank and he said, "This is a new sword intent." The awakened Dongfang Yun, he looked at Yen Shisan and said, "Brother Yen. Your deadly 13 swords have 2 more swords behind them." Dongfang Yun's words immediately made Yen 13 look confused. "Are you saying that my Yen family's 13 deadly swords are incomplete?" "Not really. I mean Yen wants to go further in swordsmanship. You need to understand the 14 swords and 15 swords that originated from the 13 deadly swords." Yen 13 looked confused by Dongfang Yun's words. The 13 deadly swords are pure homicide swordsmanship. Intermittent ruthlessness. Their moves take people's lives. If Brother Yen wants to successfully overcome the threshold of being a first-class swordsman, you must understand your own unique, deadly 14 swords. Otherwise, you will always be using the swordsmanship of your predecessors. You haven't walked your own path in swordsmanship. Your swordsmanship will never be on the stage. Yen 13 listened to Dongfang Yun's words, his brow furrowed tightly and he said, "Take your own path in swordsmanship." "I understand. Brother Dongfang. Thank you very much." Yen 13, who made a living as a cold-blooded assassin and wandered the world, expressed his sincere gratitude to someone for the first time. At this time, Dongfang Yun stood up. He stood at the entrance of the dilapidated temple with a chicken leg in his hand, watching the pouring rain connecting the sky, feeling the cold wind howling past. This scene appears to outsiders as heaven crying, but he has a different feeling. The pouring rain followed the howling winds, in his eyes, they all turned into various martial arts moves. A continuous stream of rain falls from the sky, formed a rain curtain covering the earth. The howling gust of wind blew down trees scattered throughout the mountains and fields, the destruction of the earth by the storm. In the eyes of Dongfang Yun, 2 top-level techniques with a framework have been formed. Dongfang Yun feels when watching the storm raging on the earth, he said softly, "To be a teacher. How can one compare to being a teacher of heaven and earth? The power of heaven and earth. How can ordinary people resist it?" Yen 13, who was pondering inside the house, heard this sentence from Dongfang Yun, his mouth twitched slightly at the corner, he cursed inwardly, "What a joke. Learn from heaven and earth. Who can do it?" However, what Yen 13 did not expect was, Dongfang Yun surprisingly walked directly out of the dilapidated temple, step into the storm, let the storm come. In an instant, Dongfang Yun turned into a drowned rat. Dongfang Yun was blinded by the rapid wind and rain. He stood still in the rain without any concern, his consciousness sank directly into the imagery he created. Yan Shisan stared at Dongfang Yun, who was still in the storm. Is he crazy? Dongfang Yun, who was confronted by rainstorm and gale, was in a mess, but his body stood motionless in the rain curtain. Yan 13 couldn't bear to see his self-destructive enlightenment behavior. He rushed into the rain curtain with the intention of pulling him back. However, when Yan 13's hand reached out to Dongfang Yun's body, a powerful internal force erupted from his body. Yan 13 was immediately shaken back 4 or 5 steps. Internal strength protection. How could this be possible? Yan 13 saw that he couldn't be pulled back into the temple. He can only return without success. Let Dongfang Yun understand in the rainstorm and gale. I don't know how long it has been. The strong wind transformed into a gentle breeze, the rainstorm turned into a continuous drizzle, the dark sky gradually brightened up. The wind stops and the rain stops, the sky cleared up. Dongfang Yun's body suddenly shook, a large amount of white air rose from him. When the white air dissipates, his clothes and hair have all dried out. He opened his eyes, a bright light flashed through his eyes. Dongfang Yun's body took a step into the air, he waved his arm, and pointed to becoming a sword pierced into the muddy earth. 40 or 50 invisible sword chi followed his sword fingers, shooting down towards the earth. The place pointed by the sword edge, a series of explosions erupted in an instant, mud and water splashed everywhere in the sky. Yan 13 looked at Dongfang Yun falling from the sky with a frightened expression on his face and said, "Enlightenment in the rain. Once you step into the master." Dongfang Yun turned around with a smile and said, "Using people as teachers. It's really better to use heaven and earth as teachers. Enlightenment in the rain. Not only did it take me to become a master of swordsmanship, but it also saved me 10 years of hard work in my martial arts. Brother Dongfang. Is that the sword you learned from the rainstorm?" "That's right. I named it Falling Rain Sword. I also learned a set of palm techniques. I won't use them anymore. I'm very hungry now. I don't have much strength to use them anymore. Just now, that sword happened to kill a wild rabbit. Let's grill it." Yan 13 nodded with envy on his face. He started wandering the world as a killer at the age of 13, experienced countless life and death struggles, only then did he step into the pinnacle of first-class swordsman. And Dongfang Yun unexpectedly became a master of enlightenment in the rain. Directly stepping into the ranks of top swordsmen in the postnatal realm, how can this not make Yan 13 envious? Is there really such an improvement in learning from heaven and earth? Why can't I do it? Yan 13 began to doubt himself. Dongfang Yun had a full meal with Yan 13, who was somewhat skeptical of life. Dongfang Yun immediately began to meditate and regulate his breath. After all, it has rained for so long, his body has still been eroded by some moisture. If not taken seriously, the body will gradually accumulate dampness and toxins, unless Dongfang Yun can elevate his realm to that of a land immortal. Otherwise, he will have to endure the pain of dampness and poison for a lifetime. With the transformation of the eastern cloud into the Hunyuan gong, waves of mixed elemental internal power wander through his unique meridians and 8 meridians. The accumulated moisture in his body turned into waves of heat and was expelled from his skin. Not for a while, the white heat enveloped his body. Time flies by, the sky gradually darkened, neither of them left the dilapidated temple. After all, Dongfang Yun is still meditating and operating the Hunyuan gong, and Yan 13 has nothing to do. He is also willing to protect this newly acquainted little brother. At this moment, a rapid sound of footsteps came from outside the dilapidated temple. 3 soldiers from the Ming Dynasty rushed into the dilapidated temple, protecting 2 boys and girls aged 7 or 8. After these 3 soldiers walked into the dilapidated temple, discovering someone inside the temple, the 3 of them hurriedly protected the 2 children behind them, and pulled out the sword at an extremely fast speed. "What kind of people are you?" Yan Shisan looked at the three people who had broken into the dilapidated temple with cold and sharp eyes and said, I must have asked you all this, right? Speak up. Who are you? Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Yan 13 has 2 eyes and 1 coagulation. He stood up suddenly, a murderous aura erupted instantly. No one has ever dared to talk to him like this before. The cold and murderous aura made these 3 guards tremble unconsciously. Yan 13 walked towards them without haste or delay. The 3 guards gritted their teeth and cursed, the eunuch's running dog. We're fighting with you. These 3 guards will fight against Yan 13. At this critical moment, Dongfang Yun's figure blocked between them. 3 friends. Can you please be reasonable? We came to this dilapidated temple first. You are from later generations. Can you be more particular about first come, first served? It's like this dilapidated temple belongs to your family. Are you not eunuchs people? What kind of eunuch thieves don't eunuch thieves? We are all Jianghu people. My name is Dongfang Yun. Huashan disciple. This is a famous assassin and swordsman in the martial arts world. Yan 13. If we were your enemies. You are now in a different place. Dongfang Yun's words have just fallen, a shout came from outside the temple. They are in this dilapidated temple. Surround the dilapidated temple for the miscellaneous family. Don't let them run away, let's all cheer up the miscellaneous family. Don't let the remaining sins of the Yang family run away. The eunuch you're talking about is actually the eastern factory of the court. If you just say the eastern factory, I'll understand. The eunuch you're talking about. I thought it was a swallow. Sorry for the 2 young heroes. I didn't expect to implicate you all. Hee hee. This is the road of the martial arts world. It's never you who causes trouble. It's you who causes trouble. Brother Yen. It seems that we have been stirred up in the vortex of power struggle. Humph. They earn them. As long as you don't provoke me. I'm too lazy to bother them. Yen 13 threw down this sentence. He sat directly back in his original position. At this moment, the eunuch of the East factory outside the temple began to shout, Are you coming out by yourself or should the arrow rain of the Lock Sky Arrow team send you on your way? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8 Massacre. Attention of the 3 forces. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The 3 guards guarding the 2 children in the temple knelt directly in front of Dongfang Yun and said, Young Xia. You are a disciple of Mount Hua. Excellent martial arts skills. We'll leave the loyal minister's child to you, don't let my loyal ministers of the Ming Dynasty become the last. Dongfang Yun looked bewildered as the 3 guards kowtowed to him a few times, just turn around and walk out of the dilapidated temple. However, they had not yet had time to leave. The leader of the East factory outside, Xiao Tian, directly ordered, since you don't want to come out. Then don't come out, shoot arrows. Arrows rained down from all directions in the sky, completely enveloping the entire dilapidated temple. Dongfang Yun glanced at Yen 13 and said, Brother Yen. Get up and do some activities. Otherwise, we will all become hedgehogs. Voice landing. Dongfang Yun flashed and appeared outside the dilapidated temple. He waved his palm and let out a loud shout, the raging wind howls. The violent and rapid palm power directly stirred up a gust of wind. In an instant, before the temple was destroyed, the strong wind was raging, flying sand and moving stones. All the arrows flying in front of the broken temple were blown away by the strong wind. Pai Xiaotian's face changed drastically and he said, What's going on? Those 3 guards are not as strong at all. The figure of Yen 13 appeared on the roof of the dilapidated temple, the bone-poisoned sword in his hand swung like a thunderbolt. In an instant, arrows were intercepted from all over the sky. Pai Xiaotian doesn't know Yen 13, but he knew Yen 13's sword and said, bone poison sword. You are the #1 assassin in the martial arts world, Yen 13. Yen 13. Are you going against my East Factory? Yen 13 flew down from the roof with a murderous aura. You're going to pierce through me with 10,000 arrows. What else are we talking about, being right or not? Pai Xiaotian looked dumbfounded on the spot and said, this. I don't even know that Brother Yen is in the temple. This is all a misunderstanding. Dongfang Yun smiled slightly and said, if we're together, we'll be damn right. Okay. I don't like you. You're also damn it. The figure of Dongfang Yun swayed slightly, like a ghost. It instantly passed through layers of guards and stood on the top of Pai Xiaotian's sedan chair. I'll take you home. Young Xia, wait. Wait. Pai Xiaotian hurriedly walked out of the sedan chair. The strength demonstrated by Dongfang Yun has clearly exceeded the realm of first-class warriors, otherwise, he wouldn't have been approached by Dongfang Yun without any reaction. He doesn't want to offend a top expert in the realm of the postnatal master. Do you have any last words? Young Xia. Our East Factory is under the jurisdiction of the Imperial Court. If you kill me, you will commit the heinous crime of assassinating the Imperial Court's official. At that time, Daming Kingdom will have no place for you. Dongfang Yun was slightly taken aback and said, you're right too. But I still want to kill you. Your attitude just now was too arrogant. You better go to hell. Dongfang Yun's figure flashed past Pai Xiaotian's side. Pai Xiaotian spurted out a mouthful of blood. He looked at Dongfang Yun's back with a resentful expression on his face and said, Chao Gonggang won't let you go. Pai Xiaotian's body fell to the ground with a loud crash. His heart gradually turned red with the bright red blood. The Black Arrow team saw their big boss killed. Everyone drew their bows and arrows at Dongfang Yun, saying, dare to kill me, the leader of the East Factory. Revenge the big boss, shoot arrows. The posture of Dongfang Yun moves like a swimming fish, like a flying swallow, swift like a ghost, weaving through the sky lock arrow formation. He easily broke through the blockade of the sky lock arrow formation. He also pointed to becoming a sword, pierce a member of the Black Arrow team in one direction with a sword. In an instant, 20 or 30 sword chi flew out. The members of the Black Arrow team instantly fell off their horses. The Black Arrow team of the 100-people team was completely wiped out by Dongfang Yun in an instant. When the clouds of the east fall to the ground, a purple figure shot out from the forest. What kind of person? Dongfang Yun also had a hidden East Factory expert. He swung his palm and struck out with a fierce howl of wind. Faced with such fierce palm power, the purple figure stood still and drew his sword. Phantom Sword. In an instant, swordsmanship is full of energy. The overwhelming sword energy synthesizes a golden sword energy, slash in the air. The fierce wind palm power was instantly shattered by his sword. Young Xia, stop it. I'm not an enemy, the person explained. It's not an enemy. You don't seem to be a martial arts expert from the Central Plains, do you? Dongfang Yun is not familiar with the TV series, #1 in the world, so he completely did not recognize this person as Duan Tianya, the Tianzi #1 spy of Hulong Mountain Villa. I am at Xiahulong Mountain Villa. The #1 spy in the sky. Duan Tianya. I have studied art in Japan for many years. Dongfang Yun pursed his lips and said, we can't learn our own martial arts well yet. You're going to learn a foreign martial arts skill that's not as good as a pig or a dog. What do you think? This is arranged by my adoptive father for me. The purpose is also to monitor the changes in Japan. Young Xia. Which sect's disciple are you from? The 5 Sacred Mountains. Mount Hua. Oriental Clouds. I turned out to be a high disciple of the Huashan Sword Sect. Thank you very much for your help to loyal ministers today. Can you lend a helping hand? No. These guys are going to turn us into hedgehogs. Even if I can spare them. Yen brother's sword will not show mercy. Why don't I give them a ride for Yen brother? Dongfang Xiaoxiao. Can you hand over the loyal minister to me? They never belong to me. You can do whatever you want. Besides, Brother Yen and I are both from the martial arts world. Don't blame us with your court's tricks. Brother Yen. Let's go. Dongfang Yun turned to look at Yen 13. Okay. The two walked out shoulder to shoulder. Dongfang Yun suddenly turned back and said to Duan Tianya. To be honest, your illusion sword is so weak that it's explosive. You should learn more Central Plains martial arts. Duan Tianya's face instantly turned black. At this moment, Detective Guihai, who was hiding in the forest, slowly walked out with a knife and said, Brother. Do you need to get rid of them? No need. The two of us may not be able to hurt them. Yen 13 doesn't need to say much. His deadly 13 swords are even higher than my phantom swords. And this Dongfang Yun. He directly destroyed a Black Arrow team of 100 people. His strength cannot be underestimated. At least I have no chance of winning him. Even your domineering sword, incredibly domineering. It may not be able to withstand his rapid and gusty palm power. Did you use all your strength to split that palm, brother? That's right. And Duan Tianya slowly pulled out his sword. I saw that his refined steel sword was already covered with cracks. Guihai said with a sword and a face full of fear, what a fierce palm power. Surprisingly, even the refined steel sword specially crafted by my Dragon Protection Villa has been shattered. The child of loyal minister Yang Yuxuan was taken away by Hulong Mountain Villa, the downfall of the Dang Pai Xiao Tian and the Black Arrow team, damn it. This Dongfang Yun and Yen 13 dare to go against my East Factory, said the East Factory supervisor in a fit of rage, Feiying. Bring me 300 elite factory guards. Chase these two Jianghu people. I want them to live more than die. I'll obey you, my subordinate. Within Hulong Mountain Villa, Iron Gallbladder God Ho Zhu ignored and summoned Shangguan Haitang, saying, Haitang. Find a way to approach Dongfang Yun and Yen 13. See if you can bring them into my Dragon Protection Villa. Yes. My adoptive father. Dongfang Yun and Yen 13 were both concerned by the two major forces of the court. Not only that, Dongfang Yun himself is still under the attention of the Sun and Moon cult. He immediately entered the site of the three major forces. Headquarters of Sun and Moon Theology, on the Black Cliff. Dongfang Bubi listened to the intelligence reported to her by her subordinates. She smiled inexplicably and said, this kid is a bit interesting. It seems that he has already entered the realm of the postnatal master. What a magical kid. In just 3 or 4 days, he has gone from being a first-class swordsman to becoming a top-level swordsman. I don't know how you did it. There is no precedent for this in the martial arts world. With the help of observation ideas, Dongfang Yun, I have already created my body techniques, lightness skills, and sword techniques, as well as my palm techniques, and his understanding of Hunyuan Gong is completely different from that of Mu Renqing. The mixed elemental internal power he cultivates is purple. This is closely related to his swallowing and exhaling of the rising sun energy. His physique is also no weaker than that of a horizontal master in the tempering of the rising purple qi, although it cannot reach the point of being invincible, but it's not something that ordinary people can casually hurt. At this point, he temporarily put aside the use of observation ideas. He wants to fully cultivate the several sets of martial arts he currently possesses to a perfect level, reuse observation ideas to optimize or enhance existing techniques. Yen Shisan and he did not hide their whereabouts at all, quickly found by the scouts from the East Factory. They didn't actually separate. At this time, they have arrived at the residence of the Nanyue Huashan Sect in Hengyang City. Huashan Sect elder Lu Jingfeng is going to hold a golden basin hand-washing ceremony. Dongfang Yun is well aware that both the Huashan Sword Chi sects will send people. He also missed Ling Huchong and others a bit, so he came to Hengyang City with Yen 13. I want to have a chance encounter with his senior brothers and sisters. They both entered Hengyang City as soon as possible, on the streets that should have been bustling, but strangely empty. This made Dongfang Yun frown and say, "Brother Yen. It looks like the retaliation from the East Factory is coming. It's much slower than I thought." The newly appointed Iron Claw Eagle from the East Factory descended from the sky, standing in front of the two people. He said, "Dongfang Yun. Yen 13. How dare you kill the court officials? Hurry up and capture them. Otherwise, you will have 10,000 swords pierce your body." Stupid. Dongfang Yun cursed disdainfully, his figure flashed in front of the Iron Claw Eagle in an instant. He walked so abruptly in front of him, this scared the Iron Claw Eagle back a few steps. "Damn it. You're actually teasing me. Shoot me an arrow." In an instant, the sky was filled with arrows, covering the entire street. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Deadly 14 Swords Present. Recruitment of Hulong Mountain Villa. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Dongfang Yun faces the overwhelming arrows. He laughed and said, "Your East Factory is really a big hand. Before I die. You die first." Dongfang Yun slammed out with one palm. The roar of the raging wind echoed in the ears of the Iron Claw Eagle. He felt his body fly into the clouds, and then I don't know anything. Arrows falling from the sky and earth. Dongfang Yun shouted angrily, "The sky is clear and the earth is bright. A sword light reflects the void, the sword energy permeates the sky." Arrows flying in one after another were destroyed by the crisscrossing sword energy. The Black Arrow team, hiding in the dark, saw how terrifying Dongfang Yun was, and their new leader has already died and cannot die anymore. They were afraid. A moment of effort, the retreat was clean and tidy. Dongfang Yun snorted coldly with a displeased expression and said, "Chao Jingchun. Wait for me. I will definitely come to your door to learn your Tiangang boy art." Within a few days, he was besieged twice by the lock sky arrow formation of the East Factory. Dongfang Yun's temper, no matter how good, was completely provoked. They were originally affected by an unwarranted disaster. "I feel very unhappy in my heart. Now there is an ambush to kill them. What kind of person is not angry?" Just as Dongfang Yun was sulking, a disciple of the Huashan Sect handed him an invitation letter and said, "Dongfang Junior brother of the Huashan Sect. This is the invitation letter for my master's golden bowl handwashing ceremony. I hope you can come and observe the ceremony." "I will go. Senior brother, take your time." Dongfang Yun is looking bored at the invitation letter in his hand. At this moment, a little nun came crying from outside the city. He walked up and asked, "Young master. Why are you crying?" "Linghu's senior brother was killed by Tian Buguang." "What is that? Did Tian Buguang kill my senior brother?" "Ah. Are you the senior brother of the Huashan Sect?" "My name is Dongfang Yun. I started late. You should still call me junior brother." "That's it. Dongfang junior brother. You go take a look. Linghu's senior brother helped me divert Tian Buguang. I saw him fall under Tian Buguang's knife." Dongfang Yun said speechlessly, "So that's to say. Senior sister, you haven't seen my senior brother's body, have you?" No. By the way. Senior sister. What is your Dharma name called?" "My name is Yilin." "Okay. I got it. Brother Yen. Could you please take care of me, senior sister Yilin?" "Sure. You go." Yen 13 nodded coldly. Dongfang Yun flew towards the outside of Hengyang City like an electric current. In a desolate forest outside Hengyang City, Linghu Chong was covered in blood and struggled to resist Tian Buguang's sharp knife attack. He fought and retreated at the same time, continuously adding wounds to the body. Tian Buguang's wind blade is truly worthy of its reputation. As long as he moves, he will definitely leave a mark on Ling Hucheng's body. This is really bitter. Ling Hucheng, when did he suffer such a serious injury from childhood to adulthood? Ling Hucheng felt his eyelids getting heavier as he fought. He has already experienced excessive blood loss. Dizziness is nothing but normal, but he faced Tian Buguang's sharp sword. As long as he closes his eyes, he will definitely die. In the end, his physical strength was completely exhausted. He can no longer see Tian Buguang's figure clearly. Watching Tian Buguang's steel knife about to cut open his throat, a shout of anger came from afar. Bandit! How brave! How dare you harm my senior brother? Die for me! Flying dragons pierced through the clouds. A sword light pierced through the jungle, a dragon's roar echoed through the sky. Tian Buguang's expression changed, he quickly retracted the knife and returned to gear. With a loud bang of dang, Tian Buguang's sword broke in two on the spot. He spurted out a mouthful of blood, his body was directly shaken out by the rapid and fierce sword energy. Dongfang Yun stood in front of Ling Hucheng. He saw Ling Hucheng's blood-stained and disheveled appearance. The anger stirred up by the East Factory instantly erupted in his heart. Tian Bo Guang. The sound of gritting teeth burst out of his mouth word by word. A tornado rises in the wind. Dongfang Yun's arms swung rapidly. In an instant, a fierce wind is raging, flying sand and stones in the barren forest. Fallen leaves swept across the sky and a strong wind swept up. A 3-person-tall tornado formed. Tian Buguang looked at the approaching tornado with a frightened expression on his face. His body was immediately enveloped by a tornado full of fallen leaves, sand, and stones. A series of screams came from the center of the eye of the tornado. Scarlet blood was thrown in all directions. The first generation of lecherous thief Tian Buguang ended up here. I ended up with no bones left. Dongfang Yun picked up Ling Hucheng's body and quickly rushed towards the direction of Hengyang City. Within the city of Hengyang, Yen 13 brought Yi Lin to the Fuyun Inn. Coincidentally, the Huashan faction also lives here. Abbess Dingy happened to see Yen Shirshan leading Yilin into the inn. She has a quick temper, having a hot temper. I thought Yen 13 was holding Yilin hostage. She shouted angrily at Yen 13, bold thief. How dare you take my Huashan disciple hostage? Today, the old nun will slay you by the sword. Abbess Dingy drew her sword and thrust towards Yen 13 with one swift thrust. Yen 13 coldly glanced at Abbess Dingy. He knows the person Ding Yi, but he doesn't know me. Seeing someone dare to draw a sword at oneself, he is not polite. With a resounding sound, the demon's sword bone poison sword is unsheathed. The killing intent carried by Yen 13 combined with the evil energy carried by the bone poison sword itself, the temperature inside the entire inn instantly dropped. One of the 13 deadly swords, the meteor falling, was instantly used by Yen 13. The sword's cunning was to the extreme. The cold and chilly blade of the sword pierced through the gates of the destiny of Abbess Dingy. Abbess Dingy is also a top-notch swordsmanship expert. She quickly turned from an attack to a defense as she saw no match. The gentle Huashan swordsmanship was unleashed by her impenetrable skill. Yen 13's ultimate sword was unexpectedly blocked by her. However, the defensive position of Abbess Dingy is completely unable to stop swordsmen like Yen 13 who have condensed their swordsmanship. Yen 13 directly released his hands and feet and unleashed the lethal 13 swords. A sword is more ruthless than a sword. In no time, Abbess Dingy's defense was breached. Abbess Dingy was repeatedly defeated by Yen 13's attack. Yu Buchuan appeared on the second floor of the inn. He was attracted by the sound of fighting downstairs. He fixed his eyes on it. Unexpectedly, it was Abbess Dingy who got into a fight with a young swordsman. And Abbess Dingy is not yet an opponent. I couldn't even unleash the perfect defense of Huashan sword technique after being beaten. In the continuous attack of Yen 13, he thought of the sword moves behind the 13 deadly swords mentioned by Dongfang Yun. Thinking of this, he condensed all his killing energy onto the bone poison sword. The already black bone poison sword is covered with murderous aura. the deadly sword's intent condensed unprecedentedly. The 13 spirits of Yen flashed with a flash of light, all that remained in his mind was the word, kill. Deadly 14 swords. Chasing souls. The figure of Yen 13 holding a magic sword directly transformed into a stream of light, the overwhelming killing intent condensed to a point, the deadly sword intent that captures soul and soul instantly erupts. Abbess Dingy's body was directly locked by the sword intent of this killing intent. Lingran, she froze in place, unexpectedly unable to make effective dodge movements for a moment. Master. Quickly dodge. At this critical moment, Yubuchuan must be prepared to save Abbess Dingy. Dongfang Yun rushed into the inn with Ling Hucheng on his back. He saw the scene before him, he didn't think much either, he dodged and stood in front of Ding Yi. He waved his big sleeve, the calm waves in the palm of the fierce wind were unleashed. In this instant, the gentle and strong palm power neutralized the killing intent of the 13 deadly swords. Even so, Dongfang Yun's sleeve was also torn by the remnants of sword energy. Dongfang Yun laughed and said, "All right. Brother Yen. You actually understood the 14th sword. It's just a stroke of luck." Dongfang Yun didn't talk nonsense to Yen Shisan either, he turned to look at Abbess Dingy and said, "Huashan Dongfang Yun. Pay respects to master. Please use a helping hand to save my senior brother, senior uncle." Dongfang Yun said as he lowered Ling Hucheng, covered in blood, to the ground. Yubuchuan jumped down from the second floor and said, "Yuner. What's going on here?" Dongfang Yun frowned and said, "Master. It's Tian Buguang. He kidnapped senior sister Yilin. Senior brother, in order to help senior sister get out of trouble. He alone led Tian Buguang away." "No way. Tian Buguang's wind blade is a masterpiece. Senior brother is no match at all. All the injuries on his body are caused by the wind blade. Although it doesn't look fatal on its own, it can't hold on much longer. He can't even hold on to just bleeding." "I see. There's plenty. Go and get the doctor." "Yes. Master." Lu Dio hurriedly went to ask for a doctor. At this time, Abbess Dingy also reflected this, she hugged Yen Shisan with an apologetic expression and said, "Brother, I'm sorry. It's the old nun who misunderstood you." "No problem. I also want to thank you for helping me understand the 14th deadly sword." At this moment, Yubuchuan also reacted and said, "You are the deadly killer Yen 13. "What? You're a killer?" Ding Yi looked surprised. Dongfang Yun smiled and said, "Killers can't be swordsmen anymore. He now understands the 14th sword. It's not that easy for Xie Xiaofeng to win against him again, ha." Huashan swordsman Dongfang Yun. You're really amazing. Even multiple 14th swords can be easily erased. You are indeed suitable for our dragon protection villa. Shangguan Haitang shook her folding fan and walked into the inn. Dongfang Yun frowned and said, "Who are you? Why do you dress up as a man?" Can you actually tell?" Shangguan Haitang was shocked for a moment. "Cut. Men all have Adam's apple. Only women don't. What's there that can't be seen? Don't worry if I'm a man or a woman. Would you like to join my dragon protection villa? First, tell me who you are." Hulong Mountain Villa. The first spy with the mysterious character, Xian. Shangguan Haitang. So it's the Lord of Shangguan Manor. I didn't expect that you, the leader of the world's #1 manor, would be from the imperial court. I'm from the martial arts world. It's not appropriate to have a relationship with the court. Let's just forget it. Dongfang brother. You must know. You killed 2 Black Arrow teams from the East Factory before and after. You killed 2 consecutive leaders of the East Factory. Now you have formed a grudge against the East Factory. Only I, the Dragon Protection Villa, can protect you comprehensively. You must think carefully. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Kill Yu Canghai. Burning with jealousy. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Dongfang Yun looked at Shangguan Haitang with a smile on his face and said, Shangguan Manor Master. Don't think I'm easy to fool you just because I'm young. You guys don't deal much with Hulong Mountain Villa and Dongchang. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent 2 spies to rescue the loyal officials and descendants of the East Factory who were about to be killed. I've said it. As a martial artist, it's impossible for me to sacrifice my life for the royal family. Have you ever thought that the East Factory would vent its anger on the Huashan Sect? Then let him give it a try. Let's see if I killed his East Factory first or if he targeted my Huashan Sect first. Shangguan Haitang said speechlessly, Brother Dongfang. You're really enough. Even the great master Xientian dare not say that he destroyed the East Factory. The master of the East Factory is not just Chao Jingchen. Wei Zhongxian and Lu Shi are both innate great masters. Even if you are in the realm of a master now. If you really confront the East Factory, you will die a miserable death. I really didn't know that the power of your court is so complex if you didn't tell me. As long as the East Factory doesn't take the initiative to trouble me. I don't have the time to find their trouble. Besides, is the great master very strong? Do you know that I was just an ordinary first-class swordsman 5 days ago? But after that rainstorm. As soon as I entered the master. Shangguan Manor Master. How long do you think it will take me to reach the Grand Master? Dongfang Yun's words directly stunned Shangguan Haitang, saying, You. Alright. Shangguan Manor Master. Don't say anything useless. I won't get involved in the power struggle within the court. Dongfang Yun has just finished speaking these words. Yu Canghai from the Qingqing sect walked into the inn with the 4 beauties of Qingqing. After Ho Renying saw Dongfang Yun, his expression suddenly became excited and he said, Master. It was this kid who cut off my arm. And he also fucked the other 3 martial brothers. Yu Canghai snorted coldly, what a narrow path for enemies. Since I met you here. Then we have revenge. Let's complain about it, kill him for me. Dongfang Yun frowned and said, Last time I was lenient. If you still want to cause trouble, don't blame me for being impolite. The 4 beauties of Qingqing waved their swords in unison, they thrust their sword straight, the sharp sword pointed straight at Dongfang Yun's destiny gate. Humph. You guys are so delicious. Dongfang Yun waved his hand, a gust of strong wind swept across his waving sleeves in an instant. Qingqing Xixio was directly swept away by this gust of strong wind and turned his horse upside down, 4 people flew out of the inn and fell onto the street, 1 person continuously sprays blood out with a mouthful, in no time, the famous 4 shios of Qingqing died on the spot. Yu Canghai saw his 4 disciples die on the spot, he was completely angry, the internal power of the Grandmaster realm erupted in an instant the day after tomorrow. Pine Wind Sword Technique. The pine shadows stretch endlessly. Yu Canghai rises from the sky, sweeping sword in the sky, continuous and uninterrupted, the sword energy that seemed to be both virtual and real slashed towards the eastern clouds. Is this the swordsmanship of your Qingqing sect? Really? It's not even bullshit. Dongfang Yun takes 1 step forward, he waved casually, a strong gust of wind erupted, the sword energy from the strafing was immediately erased. He is no longer accustomed to Yu Canghai, he swung his arm and slapped it out. Within the inn, in a blink of an eye, the strong wind is raging, a large number of tables, chairs, and benches were overturned to the side. The sound of the howling wind brushed past Yu Canghai's ears, a violent and rapid force directly hit him. Yu Canghai spurted out a mouthful of blood, the Qingqing sect's flagship sword in his hand, the Chongqing sword turned into 4 or 5 fragments on the spot, he himself spewed out a mouthful of thick blood. He also stepped into the path of his 4 disciples. Yu Canghai, who was seriously injured, stumbled backwards and flew out of the inn. He said with a look of shock, "This is not Huashan martial arts. You don't care what technique I use. I can kill you." The voice fell. Dongfang Yun combined his fingers to form a sword. The sword transforms into a dragon. Flying dragons pierce through the clouds. The swift and lightning-like sword energy shot out like a divine dragon soaring into the air. Yu Canghai looked at the swift and fierce sword energy with a frightened expression as it was within reach, but his body couldn't move. He could only watch helplessly as the rapid sword energy penetrated his body. Sword energy penetrates the body. Yu Canghai spurted out a mouthful of thick blood. His arm trembled as he lifted it and pointed to Dongfang Yun, saying, "Left Alliance leader. I won't let you go." Yu Canghai's body collapsed with a loud crash. At this point, the leader of the Qingqing sword sect has fallen. In the inn, Yu Buchuan looked at his little apprentice with horrified eyes. He didn't expect that Dongfang Yun had already entered the realm of a swordsmanship master after several days of descending the mountain, and killing a master in the early days of Yu Canghai is like playing. "Yunner. You're too mischievous. How could you kill Master Yu?" "Ah. Master. He's going to kill me. I'm not allowed to kill him yet." Yu Buchuan was silenced by Dongfang Yun's words. At this moment, Yen 13 said coldly, "Yu Buchuan. Isn't Dongfang your disciple? Why don't you help him?" "How could I not want to help him? Do I have time?" "Me." Yu Buchuan's face blushed for a moment. Yen 13 nodded and said, "That's right. You, a master, are not as good as an apprentice. Is this the so-called, blue surpasses blue? This statement, make others present want to laugh but dare not, this is just too embarrassing, Yu Buchuan." Yu Buchuan sneered and said, "My disciple is better than my master. That proves that our disciples at the Huashan party never hide anything." Yen 13's mouth twitched slightly. He thought to himself, "If it weren't for your face that was about to turn charcoal black, I would have believed it." At this moment, Yu Buchuan also reacted. He sternly questioned Dongfang Yun, "Yunner. What's wrong with the martial arts you're using? You know, learning other martial arts privately is a taboo in the martial arts world." Abbess Dingy also agreed on the side and said, "Nephew Dongfang. Your master is right. You have learned other martial arts privately. Not only is it not good for the reputation of the Huashan Sect, but you are also unacceptable in the martial arts world. You'd better explain it clearly. Otherwise, there will be no place for you in the Ming Dynasty's martial arts world." "Master. Master Dingy. Except for Hunyuan Gong, which belongs to the Huashan Sect. All of my martial arts skills were comprehended by myself. This shouldn't be considered as a private study of other martial arts, right? Self-created. This." Abbess Dingy and Yu Buchuan were both dumbfounded. When was it so easy to create my own martial arts skills? The days I've been down the mountain, watching the storm, I've come to realize a fierce wind palm and a set of rain-falling swords. When I first came down the mountain, I met Dongfang Booby in the town at the foot of Mount Hua. She played a prank on me and flipped over. I learned a bit of inspiration from her lightness skills and palm techniques. After defeating Xie Xiaofeng, Brother Yen and I settled in a dilapidated temple. And then there was my realization of watching the storm. That's just this storm. It took me to step into the master. The insights I have gained from others since I came down the mountain are completely integrated at this moment." Dongfang Yun said this. He bowed to his nominal master and said, "Master. All the martial arts that I know now, except for Hunyuan Gong, are all created by me. Even Hunyuan Gong has been changed by me in terms of cultivation method." Yu Buchuan's face stiffened as he looked at Dongfang Yun. He accepted such a genius among geniuses, the demons among the demons. What else can he say? his martial arts only studied the Hunyuan Gong of the Huashan Sect, the others are all self-created. What else should he say? Junior brother you. You have really taken in a demon. I have never seen such a demon in the Ming Dynasty for 100 years. Abbess Dingy looked at Dongfang Yun with envy on her face. Haha. Senior sister Dingy, don't praise him too much. This will make him proud and complacent. Although Yu Buchuan was jealous of Dongfang Yun's talent in his heart, but on the surface, he still needs to show a proud and pleased attitude. Dongfang Yun listened to his master's hypocritical words, his lips twitched slightly and he thought to himself, if I hadn't seen Xiao Jianghu before. I really believed your lies. Yuner. Extra words. As a teacher, I won't say much more. Take Chong'er to the room first. He's injured too seriously. Master. Dongfang Yun nodded. The Tianxiang intermittent cream developed by the Huashan Sect for treating internal injuries has a huge recovery effect on Linghu Chang's injuries. After 1 or 2 days, most of his external injuries are scarred, but his body is still very weak. After all, I have shed so much blood, not being empty is strange. There are still several days left until Lu Jingfeng's Golden Basin hand-washing ceremony, but Yu Canghai's son, Yu Renyan, did not know that his father had died in Hengyang City. He still led a group of disciples from Qingqing to Fuzhou. And Hengyang City is not far from Fuzhou, and Yu Buchuan has been peeping at the exorcism sword manual of the Lin family of Fuwei escort agency for a long time. He cannot miss this excellent opportunity. Yu Buchuan instructed Yu Lingshan and Lao Dino to go to Fuzhou. What is the purpose of sending so many disciples from the Qingqing sect to secretly explore outside Fuzhou city? Neither Yu Lingshan nor Lao Dino knew about Yu Buchuan's plans. Unconsciously, the two became Yu Buchuan's eyeliner. On this day, Yu Renyan brought more than 10 elite disciples from Qingqing to a tavern outside Fuzhou city. Little did they know that the owner of this tavern had already changed. Lao Dino and Yu Lingshan transformed and became the owners of this tavern. At this moment, Lin Pingji, the young master of Fuwei escort agency, happened to be following 2 old escorts to complete a journey of escorting and return. Where did Lin Pingji suffer from being a bodyguard? He was already exhausted. I saw a tavern outside the city. He will immediately go into the tavern to rest. The young master spoke up. The 2 old bodyguards who ate with the Fuwei escort agency could only follow his temperament. 3 people entered the tavern, their attire as bodyguards. It was immediately noticeable by Yu Renyan and others. But Yu Renyan is not very intelligent. He didn't think at all about the Fuwei escort agency. His gaze has always been on Yu Lingshan, who has been disguised. The face can be easily ugly, but the figure cannot be disguised at all. Although Yu Lingshan is not very old, but her figure is still curvy and graceful, very informative. This made Yu Renyan unable to open his eyes on the spot. The disciples of Qingqing sitting at the same table all burst into bitter smiles. Yu Renyan is the biological son of the leader. They also dare to speak up and stop him. Hee. The little girl's face looks ugly. But her figure is really curvy and curvy. Do you want to be happy with my brother? Yu Renyan said as he was about to get started. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.